So how much of science is kind of proving what was already wrote about long
Yeah.
before us?
This is really a good place to go because one of the things that happened, you could say, um, one of the things that happened is you could say at first the scientists applied their method to the external world, right? Understanding the physics of motion, understanding, what things are made of in terms of their components. And so there was a kind of, I could say, what was set up was a kind of arrogance, you could say, to some extent, where it's like, oh, we're mastering this, like we're on top of this, we understand this, this is something that religion could never provide. This is something that the storytelling could never provide. But then when you start to turn the lens back on the human person and everything that has to do with the human person, especially today, cognition itself and the relationship between cognition and other aspects of human living, then things become a lot trickier. And it seems to me that the right now we're in an interesting moment where a lot of religious practices are coming back in through secular thinking, whether it's fasting, whether it's, like you said, gratitude, meditation. There are all these things that are trying to kind of create a pseudo religious practice, of decentralized practices that sometimes it's not totally clear what the ultimate goal is. Feel better, be fit, more fit, all of these things. But usually the idea is that in a religious framework, all of these secondary goods, like just feeling good in your body, just feeling more, feeling free from bad thoughts, like all these type of practices, they're aimed towards something that's coherent. They're kind of brought together, even in terms of society, in terms of your connection to your family, connection to the world around you. They're kind of brought together. Whereas now we have this kind of weird factitious practices, or not factitious, but I mean, um, it's like people are discovering that fasting is important, and so they're creating these like fast schedules, and they're realizing that meditation or breathing calmly or just being still is important. And you're like, well, it used to be called prayer, and it used to just be part of life, but
And when you hear things like that and you see those kind of patterns about, I guess, science confirming the traditions, in your view, does that kind of strengthen your hypothesis about what we talked about the first time, where you kind of talked about the inevitability of religion? Does that kind of strengthen your argument, your thinking in that sense?
I mean, I think so. I think so. I think that what we're going to see, and as we move forward, because this is in some ways a lot of these are new phenomena. A lot of this cognitive science is quite new, and the problem of emergence and the problem of complexity, all of these are recent. Maybe from after World War II, where it's become more important to talk about these questions. But what we're going to see emerge, I think, is more and more religious thinking, and more a weirder religious thinking. Like we're going to see techno religions. That seems it might already be there. With the advent of AI, it is possible that even though the external trope of religion, like we won't necessarily have buildings. What can I say this? We won't have buildings and all of this thing, but if for all intents and purposes, people will worship AI in the sense that they will place it as the highest purveyor of value, and they will follow whatever it gives them. And so that's religious posture, no matter what.